Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Owen and AJ Talks. I'm Owen Finch, and I'm here with.
AJ Talent.
And today we're going to be covering Yellowjackets Season 1, Episode 4. This episode is called Bear Down, and it was, I think it was written by or produced by. No, it was directed by um, Depa Meta, making his first appearance. He's at least known because you can actually click on his wiki. You know, some people you can't even click on their wiki, so he's at least getting
Yeah.
somewhere. And then it was written by Liz Fain, making her first appearance right in the show. And you want to guess the date that this episode came out? Now that's gonna be tough because we haven't done the review in a few weeks. So you don't even
Yeah, it's been
remember.
a hot minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna guess May 21st, 2021.
Ooh.
I can't remember
Ooh.
if this was 2020 or 2021.
This came out December 5th, 2021. So
Mm,
you're at least in
okay.
the right year, so that's good. Um,
Yeah, yeah. I was thinking this came out during the summertime, but yeah, it's winter.
but it's kind of cool in a way. I guess we never really talked about this, that this show came out in the same year that the timeline is set. It's just kind of weird because it came out at like the end of 2021, so like they're gonna be in 2021 probably for a little while. So like because obviously I think season 2 ends at like January 2022, so it's just kind of funny to think that like they're only going to be in the same timeline for like what a month, 2 months maybe
Yeah,
when the
yeah,
episode
like
came out.
that.
So um but yeah, let's just start talking about this episode. um so this is kind of I think a little bit of a disadvantage that I think AJ has versus what I had, because when I watched Yellow Jackets at the time, I was just binge watching it. Um, I watched like 3 episodes a, a day sometimes, or sometimes I'd watch two. It just depend on um, this the cliffhangers or whatnot, or just time it frame and everything like that. But the AJ's gonna notice the disadvantage because we had the same thing with Breaking Bad, except reverse, where you remembered what happened in Breaking Bad when we were watching it. You just didn't remember exactly what episodes things happened, and I'm kind of having the same thing because the last 3 episodes I remembered pretty well. This episode, except for maybe a certain thing, I didn't really remember as well, just because it's been a year since I watched the episode. And also too, I like I said, I binge watched it, and I thought some of this stuff happened in the next episode or the episode before this. So I'm saying this. Well, there's really no reason why I'm saying this, but there is a reason in my head. Um, and the reason is because this episode, compared to the others, was a little bit underwhelming. It didn't really feel like a lot of stuff was happening with certain characters. It felt like there was kind of only one character that was kind of carrying the whole episode. It was really just kind of centered around them. So
Mhm.
I say this too because Age is going to talk about this throughout the episode. It's kind of unfortunate just because if he probably watched the next episode, he would kind of probably be more okay with it than he was
Right.
with.
Again, uh, in this review, like you've seen the show, we're coming back. You're coming back to it like with hindsight. For me, every episode is like blind for me. I haven't seen episode 5 yet. I'm probably gonna watch it after we're done with this. Yeah. So, and again, like I said, we kind of took a pretty lengthy break in between episodes 3 and 4 for this review. So
Yeah.
after the end of last episode, I was really looking forward to this episode. And this episode was kind of a sleeper compared to the end of last episode. I was really disappointed that they didn't follow up on the on Travis's death and the them finding the cabin owner's corpse. They didn't really follow up on that in the way I was hoping. So
Right.
this
Yeah.
episode, and like you said, you watched episode 5 like right after 4, so that wasn't as much of an issue for you. But for me, like I haven't seen episode 5 yet, so yeah, this episode is pretty underwhelming on its own.
Yeah. Again, there's some good things that happen in this episode. It's just it is a pretty underwhelming episode. Um also too, this season only has 10 episodes. It's not like, with other seasons of TV shows that will have 13 or even 20 episodes. So you typically kind of expect that they're gonna do a lot like a slow burn to kind of build up to that big crescendo. Well, there's only 10 episodes here though, so you kind of have to get the ball rolling a little bit quicker than you normally
Yeah,
would.
yeah. For this episode, it was kind of the kind of like a point in my head where I like started to notice I feel like an issue with the show. Well, two is one, like you said, nothing wrong with a slow burn, but in like the first episode, like you said, like was set in the town. It's them like establishing the characters before the crash. Episode two was the crash, them like dealing with like finding everyone and like the injuries of the crash. Episode three, it's them like first dealing with them being out there for a few days and like
Yeah.
running out of food and water, and they find the cabin. Um, this episode, we're episode four. We're already almost halfway through the season, and it's still kind of just like setting things up. And I feel like again we should be at that point where we should kind of be past that slow burn stage, and also um, the difference in time, the past and the present. I feel like it's juggling too many storylines because, as we said, Natalie's storyline is really good in this episode. She's the main focus of the past and the present. However, I really like Thaisa, but her plot in the present this episode was underwhelming compared to the last few episodes. And even though I like it, it's just not. It's underwhelming compared to the last few.
Yeah.
And Shauna, she's like the main character, continues to be the least interesting. Misty literally calls her on the phone at the end of this episode to let her know there's like a plot happening.
Yeah,
like
pretty much.
Misty literally calls her to be like, "Hey, bitch, like, there's a plot happening,"
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of like a show problem too. It seems like they always try to make sure all of the main characters at least are in an episode doing something, and sometimes I think that's a little bit to the detriment of the show. And this episode was kind of an example, kind of evidence of that. I feels like I don't think everyone needs to necessarily be in every episode. Like we kind of use this as when we covered Breaking Bad. If they needed to do an episode centered around just like Walt and Jesse, they would just have Hank be absent for that episode. Like, I'm pretty sure he's not in the season 3 finale because, they were kind of dealing with, like, all the stuff with Gus and everything like that.
Yeah, like if the show feels like it needs to have all the main characters in every episode, where here I feel like if you you don't even have to remove it from the show. Just take the Shauna and Thaisa plots and move them to a different episode.
Yeah.
And give us more scenes in the past with Natalie and Travis, and more scenes in the present with Natalie and Kevin, and Misty as well. I feel like this would help this episode a lot because Natalie is easily the best like plot in this episode, and so far she's my favorite character in the show.
Yeah.
So again, this isn't a diss on Thaisa. Like after Natalie, I think Thaisa is my favorite.
Yeah.
It's just that like I feel like her plot should have been moved to either last episode or next episode.
Yeah, exactly. And especially too, that also kind of becomes a little bit of a problem. Like when I was first watching the show the first time, I thought there was going to be like an episode all centered around the past where they don't show the present at all, and then it's reversed, like they do an episode all in the present and not the past. That never seems to happen in this show. It seems like they always like to juggle back and forth. And I think when it's great, but it's never bad, but sometimes it's just annoying sometimes because they're going back and forth.
Again, I'm not saying like remove like the past and the present. Like I like that we're jumping back and forth, but it's just that like there's a bit too much jumping. Again, there's the past storyline which with a bunch of different characters in it.
Yeah.
Shauna's storyline, Thaisa's, and then Natalie's with Misty's. That's 4 storylines that and like I said, every episode is jumping between these 4 storylines, and I think it's just too much. Like I feel like again, like I said, if this episode just focused on like past Natalie and present Natalie, I would like it a lot more.
Oh yeah, definitely. We would probably be putting it in like the A category in the very least type of thing.
But for now, this episode I feel like is like spreading itself thin, trying to juggle too much.
Yeah, because we'll say this too. Like I even made the joke to AJ off camera. It seems like that all the characters in the past, all the actors miss like shooting day or something. Like they overslept or something like that because it's just Natalie and Travis that are in this episode.
Like I say, it's juggling too much, but at the same time, it feels like not much happened.
Yeah.
Because it's spread itself too thin. It feels like nothing super big happened this episode. Now, to be fair, in the past, it was more so focusing on like establishing Natalie's and Travis's relationship because obviously because we know in the present they were like dated for a long time. So we're like in the past we're seeing them like kind of bond a bit. Like this is their first bit of bonding. Um, so like that's fine. Like not every episode needs to have like a big event happen to it.
Right.
But again, just compared to last episode where we found that the attic and like the guy dead in the attic. Yeah, we found the cabin and the guy was dead in the attic. I was disappointed that this episode picks up a few days later and they've already like buried him.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, let's just start talking about the actual like episode itself. We went on like a 10-minute tangent on this kind of talking about like
Like we'll just get it out of the way first, like now we can like focus on like the actual like beats.
Yeah. So yeah, let's just start talking about it. Coming back to the past first, as you just said, the past. It opens up. We see Natalie. She's having like a nightmare. This is kind of like during the plane crash, and we're kind of seeing like what her reaction was when the plane crash was like going on and everything like that, and she has like a vision of an old person who's had like the half of their face blown up pretty much. We later find out that this is her dad pretty much, and they come back to this like throughout the episode.
I do like we're seeing different everyone's like perspective of the crash because episode 1 we saw Shauna's, then we saw Misty's, and now we're seeing Natalie's. So I like how we're seeing like how everyone was reacting to the crash.
Yeah, that's cool.
Cool.
And then we find out that it was actually like a nightmare. We see like Natalie like wake up as if it was a nightmare, and we see Lottie like looking up towards the entrance to the second floor of the cabin, and Natalie then tells Lottie that they buried the dead person. And again, this was really disappointing. I even was kind of a little disappointed when I watched this in real time because this was like such a big cliffhanger at the end of the last episode. I'm kind of disappointed that they didn't really go back to it. They do go back to it again, but it feels like it would have had more of an impact if we got to see like the immediate impact.
Like what was everyone's reaction? Like was there panic? Were people like debating on if they wanted to stay in the cabin or not? We're gonna get to that later on. I'm gonna mention something that happens with Jackie, but I think one of my favorite things is like seeing like discourse in the group. Because like everyone's panicking, everyone's just trying to do the best they can in the situation, and like seeing people like disagree on like how to survive, like it's interesting.
Yeah, definitely. But again, it was just a little disappointed that they just kind of because that they basically did a time jump pretty much instead of kind of dealing with it. Then continue in the past. Travis, I'll just kind of talk about everything in order since we kind of have to talk about certain things for you to talk about the scenes you have to talk about. Travis finds a rifle / shotgun / whatever, and
A gun.
yeah, and he's basically practicing to shoot with it because obviously the gang's starting to run out of food very quickly and everything like that. So and he feels like he's the only real like man of the group, so he kind of feels like he's got to provide for the group and everything like that. And Coach Ben comes out and has Travis give him the gun, and he basically reveals that Travis is right. That they're starting to run out of food very quickly, and Coach Ben, it's revealed that when he was younger, his dad used to take him out deer hunting, so he knows a thing or two about it. However, because he only has one leg, he's really not very useful when it comes to deer hunting. So basically, they all have to train on how to use the gun and actually deer hunt and everything like that. So pretty much he sets up like a competition. Like I think it's like two like games that they have to do, two obstacle courses. And I guess whoever did the best was gonna be the one that hunted. Um,
Which
so
makes sense because it seems like you only have one gun, So
yeah. And we find out that you know, I mean, I know they say it later on, but I'll just say it now. Like they have like um a ton of bullets because in Ben's words, this person I guess was preparing for the apocalypse because he just has a stash
yeah,
full of rifle bullets. So
yeah. I'm glad Religious Girl is the one like pointed that out because I was thinking that I was like, don't waste bullets, because like you need it to like survive.
yeah,
But like she pointed out like shouldn't we be like saving these? And then like you said, Ben, we find out that like the cabin was like full of ammo, so like they're not gonna run out anytime soon.
yeah. Um, but he has a couple of them do the task. One of them is being able to like put the safety on and like there's like a coin that they have to balance on the gun, and then they have to basically keep it there when they put the safety on, and most people fail at it. Travis is successful at it though, and then Natalie does it, and she fails the first time, and then throughout this episode, Travis is basically giving everybody shit because he's the one that that knows how to do all this stuff, and Natalie is the one who gives shit, and then Natalie's like, okay, I'm gonna go again, and typically like only whoever goes only goes like one time. It's only like one shot, and you're pretty much done. But the coach actually allows Natalie to go again, and this like motivates Natalie to actually do it well. So she basically kind of one ups Travis here, and doing this, Travis offers for Harvey to try it, but Harvey's still upset, because of their fight in the last episode. So he just kind of walks off, and this kind of this leads into really our only Shauna scene until like the very end of the stuff in the past that
Yeah.
happens.
So I was gonna say I like how because this episode started off with like Natalie's perspective of the plane crash and how she's like hallucinating her dad, with like a his head, half of his head missing, and like a gun in her hand. And earlier Natalie failed the gun test because she's like seems like very shaken up and scared of holding a gun.
Yeah,
So the implication throughout this episode was that like Natalie killed her dad, and we're gonna find out more about that situation later on.
yeah. I
But
figured
yeah,
I'll just say it because we didn't actually talk about when we talk about it. I figured we'll talk about it all at once, but we'll wait till we kind of get to a certain point in the episode when I'm just gonna talk
I
about
just
it.
like because we're talking about like the coin test and her failing it the first time, we should mention like
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
not that she isn't as good as Travis because we're gonna see later on she's better than Travis, but
Yeah,
rather than like it's like mentally she's like has PTSD.
yeah,
Um, and again, this is going for like a bait and switch for the whole episode. You think Natalie blew her dad's head off,
yeah,
and that's not quite the case. Um, but yeah, Javi kind of just like storms off, and he finds Shauna just like sitting on a log that's over like a little stream, writing in a journal. And this is cool because we saw episode one ended with her like looking at her old journal.
yeah,
Javi asks what she's doing, and she basically explains that like she's always kept a journal. Like she like writes all of her thoughts in it. Um, so Inch obviously kept on to this, kept it to like the present day. Um, and that she's she jokes that like, hey, when I'm rich and famous, this will, be worth a lot. Um, and Javi asks her like why she's not participating in the gun thing, and she just says like it's not really her thing. Um, which again, kind of disappointing, but that Shauna's not really like getting involved with this. But she does later on. But I guess it makes it a bit confusing for me later on, why she like doesn't want to participate in the gun thing here, but later on she's like, all right, I guess I'll be the one to, you know, bleed out
yeah,
animals.
yeah. Yeah, we'll talk about that when we get to that scene.
Like
Um,
I guess I just wish I got more of a reason why she didn't want to use the gun rather than just like she just didn't feel like it.
Yeah, true.
Um, but this is a little interesting because later on in the present we're going to see something with Shauna that makes me have some questions about maybe some stuff that'll happen later. But yeah, for now, Shauna's like kind of off on her own, not participating in the gun shooting practice, and she kind of sees that Javi like he seems kind of like uh, off, like kind of like a little upset, and like he's not participating in the gun shooting as well. Um, so she like rips off a paper out of her journal, gives him the paper and a pen, and tells her like, hey, if you want to like write your thoughts, like there's no wrong way to do it. Help yourself. Which I like that. Even though she doesn't really know Javi, like I don't think she's really talked to him at all, and I don't think she knows about like his fight with Travis. I like that she's kind of like being nice to him and like kind of giving him a way to vent his feelings a bit.
Right. But I do like that they set up, that she had this journal and everything like that. I mean, we had seen it before, but obviously, I think I mentioned to you off camera that this was, was very much foreshadowing that stuff that leads to things going on later on in the
I'm gonna guess
show.
actually like mentioned like Jeff in the diary, and like Jackie's gonna find it. Um, I'm assuming, because again, she looked at it very like sad in the episode one, so I'm assuming this journal is gonna be important.
It's also kind of like sad, even though it's like a one-off joke that she mentions. Oh, this could make me rich and famous someday. What's kind of sad is she can never, when because obviously she wrote a lot of the stuff up from this plane crash. She can never bring this journal basically to the public, really ever. So it's kind of sad that
Yeah. Well,
that
also because in episode one, like the journalist that Thaisa hired mentions that like Sean, is this what you expected out of your life? You got like accepted into Brown, or I don't know if it was Brown, but like a big university. Like did you think your life was gonna end up being so mundane?
yeah
So yeah, it's kind of sad. Like Shona had big dreams for the future, but they pretty much all agreed to kind of like lay low.
yeah um and yeah so you know continuing with the gun plot. Again, I had to kind of talk about the gun plot to kind of get us to the Harvey and Shauna scene. So it's kind of like
Yeah,
um, but everyone basically gets to try out you know actually shooting the gun. So basically they have an obstacle course set up where they have to basically shoot off a bunch of cans off. It's like four in a row, pretty much. And Travis does it very well. He gets like three in a row, but he misses like the fourth one, like the first time, but then he gets it the second time. Um, and this is obviously cool because you know, Travis gives it off to like Natalie, and he kind of gives like a offhand slide comment, being says, "Let's hope you don't need a do over," because she needed a do over the last time. And then when she
yeah.
goes to do it, she gets all cans like perfectly to like all in a row, didn't miss a single one, like got them all the first try. Um, uh,
Well,
cool stuff. Thaisa was pretty good with the gun because I'm pretty sure it opens up with Thaisa doing it, which was pretty cool. Um,
yeah. Ari mentioned Travis like pointing it.
huh?
Travis pointing it at Natalie.
Oh, that's right. So, yeah. Thanks for reminding me. Um, I thought that was later. So, when he misses I think it's when he misses one of the cans. Um, Natalie kind of badmouths him and calls him Flex because everyone's been calling him like Flex. I think they have been, but this is kind of the first time where it was very much in your face, which kind of makes sense because they talk about it later on.
Well,
Um,
I didn't even realize that's what set him off until you like kind of explained it more later.
yeah, but then he turns around and points the gun at Natalie, and like everybody kind of has to talk him out of it, even like the coach. And then this kind of motivates him to actually get the can the fourth time, and then you know Ben even like is very proud of him. But then he's like, don't do that again, pretty much. Like, he's pretty stern with Travis there. And then this leads to like, Natalie getting all four shots in a row.
Yeah. So yeah, even though so basically Travis has been talking shit, but Natalie like one up some. I like because last episode we saw like Ben feeling like he's really useless and like can't do anything because he's missing a leg, and he was like saying he wish he just like died.
Yeah.
So I like here he's kind of like trying to take charge a bit more, and like be the adult in the situation because he's the only adult.
And I
Um,
like that he's like helping everybody like learn how to use the gun and like hunt and everything like that. So he's kind of like in a way provided in that sort of way also. So
and again, I like discourse in the group. I like that like Travis, like was thinking about fucking killing Natalie, and Ben has to like kind of keep the peace and keep everyone like from killing each other.
yeah.
Um,
Um. So then
but
Travis.
also that was the first time I was like, damn, Travis is like psychotic.
Yeah.
Because like earlier when he fight with Javi, it's like I get it, his dad just died, and like he threw away the gum, which like like in his mind I get why he thinks it's not a big deal, but like obviously for Javi it is.
Yeah.
Here he like full on pointed a gun at Natalie. Like Travis is being like fucking psycho.
I will say this, like I did kind of forget like how psychotic like Travis actually was in the past, like and kind of how antisocial he kind of was because like I mentioned before originally when he went on the plane, like he wouldn't let his brother sit with him, he just kind of went on and I think it went on his like headphones and listened to music or whatever he did. So like I kind of forgot that Travis like back then was kind of like a douche type of thing.
Yeah, again, it's like up until this point he just seems like a douche, but like here again, it's like fucking psychotic.
Yeah. Um, but again, I still end up feeling bad for him because he ends up dying like in the
Right,
present. So it's
right.
like, it's
Yeah, of
like
course, and I'm sure we're gonna like see him kind of like change and like warm up to everyone a bit.
yeah.
Um,
But then we
so
find
yeah,
out that like uh Travis and Natalie are the ones that did the best with all the practices and everything like that. So they're the ones that are basically going to be the ones providing food for the group. And Coach Brent even like kind of pulls them aside like privately and tells them like honestly, he doesn't even know when or if the research team is coming. So basically, he kind of tells them that like they're the ones that are providing for the group, and says that like they have to pretty much work together, if they have a chance of getting any food or anything like that. So I kind of like that. He's kind of trying to get like them to work together and everything like that.
yeah,
Um,
I like that he pulled them aside for that. Like he knows they have a really important job, so he kind of levels with them, and like, but he doesn't want to tell everyone like, hey, help might not be coming.
yeah.
Um, and again, I think that's important because obviously he saw Travis nearly fucking murder Natalie. So he really has to stress, like, hey, we really need you two to work together. Like, we will not survive if you two can't get along.
Um, and yeah, so we'll just kind of talk. They kind of go off on the hunt. Uh, Kind of before that, there's like one scene that happens with the group. Uh, while they're off their hunt, we'll just want to just talk about it now because like I don't exactly remember when it happens, but like I know it happens.
Oh, yeah.
So
Right. Yeah, because this is kind of like, well, aside from the Shauna scene with Javi, which was only like, a minute, this is like the only past scene that isn't about like Natalie and Travis. Um,
I get everyone missed shooting that day. They just overslept.
yeah, I know, right? And again, which I think this episode kind of struggled with like juggling the past and the present. Um, yeah, so basically, they were investigating like around the cabin, like looking for food, and like one of the girls was in Girl Scouts, and she's trying to teach everyone like, okay, that might be poisonous, and they're like kill you poisonous or like make you trip acid poisonous.
That was
She's like, I
funny.
don't fucking know. Do you want to try and find out? But they find a plane, like a small two-person plane, um, and they're like, oh, this must have been owned by the cabin owner, and it's like covered in like weeds and plants, so like obviously it hasn't been used in a long time, which makes sense because like they said, the cabin had been deserted for a really long time, um, and the guy was a skeleton with cobwebs all over him, so he had been dead for a while too. Um, they hop in the plane, and I don't know what their thought process was because I'm assuming none of them know how to fly a plane. But I guess their idea was like if they can get it working, they could have someone like fly to go get help. Um,
Yeah, I don't know how they would have done that though, because they're the only ones with like
like I
miles.
mean, better than nothing, right? I mean, like fuck it, at least try.
Yeah.
Um, um, yeah. So one of the girls hops in the plane, and like gets it like turned on, and it begins moving, and like they're trying to turn it off. Van and Jackie are like in the line of fire, basically, because like I said, the propeller's moving and the plane's like inching forward. Jackie like quickly pushes Jackie Van out of the way and is like an inch away from getting her head chopped off before the plane stops. I'm pretty sure the girl in the plane didn't actually stop it, but rather we see that like the tires of the plane are like being held down by it seems like some kind of wire.
Right. Um,
Everyone is like they're like shocked, like they're like fuck, we almost died.
especially
Um,
Jackie.
well, yeah, Jackie. Everyone's like kind of like holy shit.
Yeah.
Um, I think I told you when I was in Italy, I was
Oh
like
no.
walking on the street. I nearly got fucking hit by a bus. Like
Yeah,
I
you
was
did.
literally like 2 inches away from getting cut in half by a bus.
Yeah.
And similar reaction where after that I kind of just like stood there for a second to be like, holy shit, I almost just died. Um, and the kind of like paranoid girl, not paranoid because she's pretty valid and being scared. The girl who thinks like something supernatural is going on
Oh, that's Lottie.
notices. Okay, Lottie. The girl from the beginning of the episode who was like staring at the attic, like thinking of the guy who lived there. Um, like like looking at the wheels and seeing how they're like bound and like like hooked to the ground. Like so, if someone tried to get in and take off, they couldn't. Um, she says that it didn't want him to leave. So and she says it. So like she thinks like some kind of monster or spirit or something is out here and like doesn't want anyone to escape. Um, and Thaisa kind of like looks at her. And I like that because last episode Thaisa was the one to kind of like tell her like she doesn't believe in any supernatural stuff.
Yeah. Overall, good. This scene was good. It's like the only scene we get that's not Natalie and Travis related until like after their hunt for the most part. Even then, that's also like Natalie and Travis stuff. Um, and then you know, I did like there was like there's a moment where they're Van and Thaisa are making fun of Misty, because thinking that like she has a crush on the coach, and I kind of like that because again, that's the kind of setting up that there's some type of like relationship or something going on between Thaisa and Van, and this kind of seemed like a little bit more something's going on. So again, we still kind of don't know yet if there's like a relationship going on, but I kind of like that that was even kind of set up here. I do kind of like in this
Yeah,
episode. I know we talked about it a lot, but like this episode was still kind of disappointed. Um, it's showing that everyone has some at least some type of like skill. Like we have one person that was in Girl Scouts, so she knows like all of like the about like the plants and everything like that. So I like that, and we'll see what Shauna's skill is gonna be. Later on in the episode, and then we're gonna see. We see what kind of Travis and Natalie's skills are. We're seeing what Misty's skills are. Um, and Lottie's skills, I guess, is that like she's afraid that the cat she could set spirits. I guess that's her skill. So
yeah,
uh,
yes, yeah.
I guess that's a good skill to
Um,
have. So um,
oh yeah, yeah. Thank you for mentioning the Misty thing because I forgot. Like there was one scene where Ben was trying to take a shit and he had to like lean on Natalie, Misty,
yeah,
and he's really fucking annoyed by Misty because he's like telling her like please stop talking, and she like doesn't like she's like maybe I'll sing you a song to help you take a shit, and he's like please don't, and then she
yeah,
does it anyway, and yeah, like you said, some of the girls like kind of make fun of her for seems like she has a crush on Ben.
yeah. Um, but yeah, pretty much everything else is just you know uh Natalie and Travis's hunt. Leaving my
Yeah, like I
notes.
said, the scene and this scene with the plan are pretty much like the only scenes in the past not about Natalie and Travis.
Yeah. Um. So yeah. Travis and Natalie go off to go for their hunts. And Travis is just kind of not really listening to Natalie. He's just kind of doing his own thing. We kind of find out why this is the case later on, and Natalie's kind of trying to tell him like what they're supposed to be doing and everything like that, but he's just not listening to her. And Travis kind of just tells Natalie like to stay out of his way and everything like that, and basically says like you could go do your thing, I'll go do my thing, and then They both go back to the site of the plane crash, and um, where they buried everyone that like died during the plane crash, and Travis you know uses like a part of the plane to dig into his father's grave, and at first Natalie's not really understanding like why he's doing this, and she kind of starts like attacking him and everything like that, but Travis reveals that there was a ring that his father had that he forgot that he had, and it was like his great grandfather's. And he pretty much wants to have that ring because that's basically like like a it's like a not a family heirloom, but like it's something that like he can that his father can like
Well,
pass down
it
to
kind of
him.
is. Like if it was his great grandfather's and his dad has it, yeah, it kind of is a fairly heirloom.
Yeah. Um. So yeah. He starts digging through it. Um. He gets through. All the way to the corpse, but he's a bit squeamish because obviously he's never touched a dead body before.
Also,
Um.
it's his dad's dead body too. Like that's got to be an extra level of traumatizing.
Yeah. So he starts throwing up. He tries to like motivate himself to do it, but he just can't put himself to do it. So Natalie, um, is the one that does it, and basically, she's able to take the win off. But the unfortunate thing, sort of, is you know, I think because his corpse is kind of decorpsing a little bit and it's kind of hardening. She can't like rip the win off. She has to like cut his dad's dead corpse off, like the finger, to like get the win off, which obviously was kind of a little disturbing. And this kind of you know causes kind of Natalie and Travis to kind of form some sort of bond from this because you know um Travis reveals that he's basically doing this for Harvey, and obviously this ties in because Natalie saw like Harvey and Travis's fight from the last episode, so this is kind of a way that
Yeah,
Travis is gonna make it right.
yeah, I like that. Yeah, because like you said, Natalie's the only one who knows about their fight. 'Cause, like earlier, Shauna like was nice to Javi, but she doesn't know exactly what's wrong. I also like that, like you said, when she sees Travis like digging up the body, she like tackles him and like thinks he's like a fucking nut job.
Yeah,
But then when he mentions the ring, like she kind of leaves him alone, but like doesn't help him. But and she's like, it's just a thing. Like let it go. Like it's not important. But then when he like makes it clear that like I needed to like kind of make things right with Javi, and like he shows that he does care about his brother.
yeah,
Um, she decides to like, all right, I'll get the ring for you.
yeah.
Um,
This kind of like causes them to form. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, I like that. We get to learn why he's called Flex before he digs up the body.
Oh yeah. So when he's digging up I will say this: I'm a little tired today because I cleaned my room. So like it took me all day, so that's why I'm forgetting certain things that happened. I also watched this episode like last night, like right before we did our other video, and then I watched like bunch of other stuff, so that's why I'm forgetting like certain scenes and all that type of stuff. But we find out that the reason that he's called Flex, originally I think everyone was kind of calling him Flex, and I think this is what my perspective is. I think the girls thought um, they were giving him shit, but they didn't really know the meaning behind the nickname. I think they were probably thinking like because he thinks he's like such a muscular guy and all that type of stuff. But the real reason he's actually called Flex is because when he was younger, he had like some type of surgery uh, to basically correct his spines, pretty much. And you know, obviously, I assume he was probably in like a back brace and all that type of stuff. After the surgery. Um, so like everyone in school teased him pretty much and called him Flex
I
because
will.
you know,
He said like in like the locker room when he was getting changed, some guy noticed a scar on his back. So the guy like spread a rumor that like he got a rib removed so he could like suck his own dick.
yeah. Um, so that kind of makes more sense why like he kind of pointed the gun at Natalie when she called him Flex because obviously you know it's a bad nickname for him and everything like that. Um,
Yeah. Well,
I
I
actually
think it's also because like again he doesn't really like anyone here. Like he said like from what he said earlier, like kind of blames the girls for because his dad was trying to help them, and he's just kind of like a dick in general.
Yeah.
But I like how like after Natalie helps him get the ring, Natalie like makes a joke being like, "So can you suck your own dick?" And he kind of lost at that. And he's like, "I wish."
Yeah, so he's kind of
So
opening.
I like the magazine from last episode where that was like the first time he kind of like was willing to joke around with the girls.
Yeah.
I like that here after Natalie helps him, he's like willing to kind of joke around a bit.
Yeah, and you can kind of see that the relationship, um, like bond. They have like a bond kind of. And again, this kind of helps because we've seen the present, so we know they end up having a relationship. In the present and everything like that. So it kind of helps. Setting the groundwork for their relationship that they have. Um,
Yeah. Even
and this
though
is
this episode didn't have as like big moments as last three, I'm fine with that overall. This is some character development episode. I am not like a big thing doesn't need to happen every episode.
I agree.
Again, I think my problem with this episode was more so that it didn't follow up on Travis's death and the guy in the attic as like I thought it would.
Yeah. Um, and then Travis reveals that um, you know, even though like he misses his dad and everything like that, um, it's revealed that his dad like really didn't like him all that much. So they didn't really have like a good relationship, which like you said in episode 1, you could kind of tell um from the beginning because obviously when Travis's dad went to like leave for the soccer game, like it seemed like that him and his wife had some type of you know disagreement and all that type of stuff. So
Yeah.
um
But that kind of ties into Natalie because she says that like even though they're shitty, even when they're shitty, you still miss them when they're gone. Which I like that personally because I'm similar thing with me, I guess, pretty recently, where it's kind of that same mentality of like they weren't a good parent, but you still miss them, like they're the one you got. So
yeah.
I like that line. I kind of felt that one personally. So yeah, I like that moment.
And I guess we could, even though this is the moment we can just talk about it now because the next time we see them is when they when they see the Dio. So we've been getting some of Natalie's backstory. It's we see in the past. If I had to guess, she's probably like 13, maybe 12 here. Um, and we
I
see
feel like a little older than that because I guess we don't know how old she is now, but she seems older than 12, maybe like 14.
yeah. If I had to make a guess. Um, because I definitely think she's younger than Shauna. So that's what. And Shauna's like 17.
Okay. I thought like Sean and Natalie were both like 17. So
Yeah, but anyhow, um, in the past, um, you know, Natalie comes home with Kevin, and we see that her mom's like passed out, so she clearly snuck Kevin in. I like this because we see this like in the present, she's like at her mom's house, like the same place, and like she's like remembering this scene, and when they kind of see her walk in with Kevin, you'll like see like old Natalie's like sitting in like the chair that we see in the past. I thought that was like a cool shot that they did.
yeah,
And they're
I
both
also
like
like how because like in the present, their mom says like happier days. And then Natalie kind of, but we kind of see that like they weren't really all that happy because, you know, we're gonna find out Natalie's dad's a piece of shit, and her mom kind of just like sleeps all day, like doesn't really like, like she isn't really like involved with her daughter.
yep. So I will say I forgot that Natalie's mom in the present even like shows up at all. I thought like I forgot because I forgot I thought like Natalie just went there like herself. Like I forgot the mom was even like there in the present. So and I
Yeah,
will say this like this compared to the present, like her mom's all like needs oxygen now in the present. In the past, she's just like passed out and everything like that. So um
mm,
and she's like overweight in the present. Um so but yeah, in the past, Kevin and Natalie are actually like just listening to music and just having like a nice conversation and everything like that. It's actually like a really sweet relationship, which is kind of cool because obviously, they always have like a sweet relationship, as we see in like um the present ish, and we're gonna see it later on. In the present. Um, and then the Natalie's father comes home, and um, Natalie hears him come in, and Kevin tries to sneak out, but her father comes in like immediately, and basically just rips into Natalie, saying that when I'm not home, you're basically bringing boys home, calling her a slut, and all these types of things.
Well,
And
also, like, keep in mind, like, they're like kids, and he like basically like tackles Kevin like onto the bed, and Kevin has to like run away.
yeah,
Uh, and like again, like they really were just like listening to music and like having a talk. They weren't like doing anything like
yeah.
sexual with each other.
I don't
But
would it
yeah, the
have gone
dad
to,
basically.
would it have got that point, maybe, but I like to think that I really don't think anything big was really gonna happen. I don't think so.
No, I don't know. Because
Yeah,
I mean, like we find out later on that like Kevin did have feelings for her, but I don't know. I think it's better if yeah, like they really weren't doing anything. That just shows like how psychotic the dad is.
yeah, but yeah, the dad then kind of like starts yelling at the mom, basically saying that like you sleep all day, and this is what happens, and he starts basically beating the crap out of Natalie's mom, and Natalie goes over and grabs a gun and points it at her father. And we think that she's gonna shoot her father, because we saw like in the flashback slash dream that he had his head blown off. So we were thinking, okay, this is gonna be the moment right here. And
Also, Natalie has like PTSD from the gun. Like she doesn't like using it.
yeah,
Um, and especially when the dad was like mocking her, he's like, oh, what? Like he's not even scared. He's like, oh, what? Are you gonna shoot your old dad? Like he's like mocking her, being like, oh, you're not gonna do it.
yeah. So you know, Natalie goes to do it, but it's on safety. So she obviously nothing's gonna happen. And the dad's being very cocky, and basically shows Natalie how to turn it off with safety, and basically like just talks about, see, this is why you can have a gun in the house if your daughter can't use the gun. But he's like upset about it, because obviously if someone broke in, they would basically be screwed if he wasn't there. And he basically calls him he calls Natalie a useless daughter and all that type of stuff. And when he goes outside, Natalie yells at him and says, "No, you're the fucking useless one." And then when he turns around, he's about to come back and probably like kick her ass and all that type of stuff. But then he trips, and the gun was safety was still off, and he ends up basically blowing. Well, he doesn't basically blow his head off. He does. He blows like the side of his
Yeah,
face off. Um,
yeah.
and
But yeah, and then like, the mom like ends up like running outside and like crying over. We don't see his dead body, but like obviously we like see the blood, and
yeah,
like the mom obviously like runs over and like starts crying and like stuff.
and Natalie's like, and obviously absolute shock. Really like this scene. I like that there was the bait and switch where Natalie actually didn't blow her father's head off, but she obviously feels at fault for it, because she's the one that introduced the gun into the situation to begin with, so she probably feels like in a way she
And
caused her
also
father.
like he was walking away, and she like yelled at him, which caused him to like turn around and trip, and you know.
Yeah. Um, and knowing all of this, Natalie and Travis find a deal in the
Although I think
woods.
it's kind of weird how, like, in the hallucination during the plane crash, like, she saw her dad with the head blown off, and then she saw like a gun in her hands, but like it was a different gun. Like it was like a handgun, and this was like a rifle.
Yeah, that could have been that. That's probably a bit of continuity error, I would probably say, more than anything else.
I feel like it would have been better if like it was like the same gun in her
Yeah.
hands. Yeah.
Or if they had the same gun like in the past that they had, like in the other past, I guess. If a father had the same gun that Travis and Natalie are using now, type of thing.
Well, I don't know. It's a similar gun, but I'm saying like how like and at the very beginning with Natalie, like in the plane crash, she like has like a pistol in her hand, like a
Yeah,
small gun.
yeah,
And then later on, the one she pointed at her dad's like a big shotgun,
yeah.
or rifle. I don't know. I would have to ask my dad. My dad knows more about guns than I do.
Um, but yeah, we see during Natalie and Travis's hunts, they come across a deer, and Natalie's setting up to shoot the deer, and like her thinking about this scene is giving her motivation to basically shoot the deer, so she's able to shoot the deer and kill it. Um, and Travis,
Also, I like how like is like supporting her. He like says something nice, because earlier he's been like shit talking her,
yeah,
like her skills. So here he like tells her like, all right, easy, like easy does it. You got this.
yeah. So this was cool, and then again, I think we talked about this off camera. This probably should have been the end of the episode, just because I think it would have been more impactful if you weren't going to do. Because they try to do a cliffhanger at the end, but it really wasn't that impactful of a cliffhanger to really end the episode off. So they really,
This scene, like the scene after where they're like eating the deer, I guess.
yeah, definitely. Um, but yeah, they bring the deer back. Um, they're all happy about it, and yeah, you're up to talk about the next thing.
Yeah. So Natalie and Travis bring the deer back, and everyone's really happy. Like, oh, cool, we got food. But Ben explains that they have to bleed the deer, and he asks like, okay, who wants to do that? Who wants that to be their job? And I like how Misty like immediately raises her hand, but like no one really like even notices. Like no one pays attention.
Not even Coach Ben. He didn't even he didn't even look in that direction. So
Yeah, so showing Misty's pretty psycho still. Like she's enthusiastic about cutting the deer's throat.
yeah,
And then Shauna appears out of the ether, and I was like, she's just been fucked off doing her own thing. And then she just kind of shows up. She's like, I'll do it. I haven't been doing anything else. I'm pretty sure she like pretty much says that. Like I haven't been doing anything else. And I'm like, yeah, that kind of sums it up.
yeah.
Um,
Both Natalie
and
and
like I
both
said,
Shauna
like it's
too.
weird. Yeah, I feel like it's kind of weird because again, I don't understand why Shauna wasn't participating in the gun tryouts, but now all of a sudden she like is she decides I'll be the one to kind of like bleed the food.
But this is good because it sets up like another storyline later on because Natalie's like kind of helping. Feels like I'm not contributing, so this is like a way I can contribute to our survival and
Yeah, you said Natalie.
I don't know why I keep mixing the two names up. So
well, that's why I thought it was weird because again, Shauna said like I want to contribute. I'm not contributing, so I want to be the one to like do this.
yeah,
But like I said earlier, she didn't even try the gun tryouts. I think I would have liked it more if Shauna did try, but she was like terrible at it. Um, because again earlier, I guess my issue was like she didn't even try to be useful.
yeah,
But now all of a sudden,
yeah. So again, I'm talking about this with hindsight, obviously. So because this sets up stuff later on, like her wanting to contribute and all that type of stuff. So
well, I know, but again, I'm just saying like earlier, it feels like she didn't care about contributing because she didn't even try with the gun.
yeah,
So
maybe
now it feels weird.
yeah, maybe she could have
Now I
like
feel
tried.
yeah, but like from last episode, I know Shauna's like scared. She wants to just like do the best thing they can to survive. Because she sided against Jackie. So like I'm fine with her wanting to contribute. I'm just saying her doing her own thing and not helping out with the gun tryouts is what made this weird.
Yeah,
Again, because she's only had like 2 scenes in the past. Earlier when she wasn't trying, and now when she is trying, it just feels weird.
yeah,
Yeah, but she basically follows Ben's instructions and slits the deer's throat to bleed it out. And obviously, earlier, like in it, I guess in the future, we see that like present day, she's really good at like skinning animals and bleeding them out.
yeah,
So that explains like this started now where she was like the group's kind of like skinner and bleeder of what they hunted.
yeah. I like
Yeah,
that
so
a
they
lot.
yeah, so now we learn like where she learned that skill. Um, yeah, and then later in the day, they're all eating the deer and they're all like chowing down, because I'm sure they've all been starving. Um, I like the scene where Travis gives Javi the ring, their dad's ring, and
Yeah, that was a good scene. Kind of good
Javi's like
makeup.
seems like they
Yeah,
and like Travis and Natalie kind of give each other a look and like smile. Um, so they kind of like mended their issues. Oh yeah, we forgot to mention it earlier, but after the plane scene, because Jackie saved Van,
yeah, like
Jackie says like, "Hey, we're even now, right?" And then Van kind of gives her a look, Um, I hope that isn't actually the end of their drama, you know, because obviously Van was pissed off that Jackie left her to die in the fire. But now Jackie like saved Van's life, and she's saying like, "Hey, we're even now, right?" So I hope that isn't actually the end of the drama, because like I said, I think my favorite thing with the past is like seeing discourse in the group and like them kind of like do a bit of infighting. So like I said, if Van and Jackie are just cool with each other now, I'm gonna be really disappointed. Owen obviously knows if that happens or not, but he's not gonna tell me.
Right.
Um, so I guess we'll see later on. But yeah, if that is the end of their like beef, I'm gonna be really disappointed. Um, yeah. So yeah. So again, that was earlier, but now and I just forgot to bring it up.
I mean, we'll talk
Uh,
about discourse too. I want to make sure we mention this because we mentioned this off camera, but I kind of forgot to mention it. It was kind of nice too, like when Travis and Natalie were having all their discourse, it seemed like they weren't really able to get anything done. I kind of like once they kind of started working together, that's when they were able to kind of finally like be good at hunting because they brought the deer back, and they were able to get like Travis's father's win. So it's kind of good, like them working together basically helped all of them and everything
yeah,
like that, like Coach Ben said. So
yeah, and like I said, it's Travis been shit talking the last few episodes, so him like encouraging Natalie at the end was nice.
yeah,
But yeah, they're all having a good time around the fire, or as good a time as you can, I guess. And then Ben like gets up to like go into the cabin to like get something, and Missy's walking by, and she very clearly like knocks his like crutch over and like makes him fall over.
yeah,
But then she's like, "Oh my God, Ben, you need to be more careful." And everyone like rushes over to him to like make sure he's okay, and he kind of gives Misty a look where he's kind of like, "Did she just like fucking trip me?"
yeah,
Um, so yeah, we see like because earlier it seemed like Misty really cares about Ben, but now it more so seems like she basically wants Ben to be useless so she can like take care of him.
yeah. It's pretty messed up, but it's Misty, so you just kind of have to. But this is a good scene. Kind of shows how psychotic Misty is, and like I kind of like how fearful kind of Ben is of Misty, um, which I think is
Especially because
good.
like again, like she's like glued to him essentially. So like like he's missing a leg, so he can't really do anything about it.
Especially too, because like she's really the only one that like really can take care of him too. So it's like that's kind of like the whole thing.
Yeah,
Like,
like
yeah,
he's basically in an abusive relationship.
yeah,
Which again, I'm interested to see how this goes because again, it seems like she is like interested in him romantically, and she's basically gonna like force him, to be like romantic with her or something like that. Like it seems really fucked up and abusive.
yeah. Um, I wish they did more with it. Like, they could have had like the long quest, like while Natalie and Travis were doing their hunt, type of thing. Um,
Yeah.
just that way.
Well, hopefully a future episode, kind of focuses on that because again, this episode was mainly we
Yeah,
barely got anything of anyone else in this episode besides Travis and Natalie.
yeah. So I kind of hope the next, because even though I've seen it again, I don't remember what happens episodically. So I'll just say I kind of hope the next episode we get like less of Travis and Natalie and more of like everybody else in the past. So,
Yeah, like you
um,
said, I think it would. I think this show would benefit if like we got like a fully past episode and a fully present episode.
right.
Like not constantly jumping back and forth.
Um, I will say this too, like again, kind of good that they have the moment where they have the deal and they're eating it, because obviously, as we find out that they like starved and like they have to eventually revert to capitalism, so like it makes those moments feel better when we kind of see that they have these like these small victories in the past and everything like that. So kind of good that
It's also
happens.
weird because like again, when we saw the cannibalism scene, they're all wearing like fucked up like cult outfits. So I'm like, how the fuck does that happen?
Yeah, so we have to wait and see what happens there. Um, but that's everything in the past. Overall everything was pretty solid in the past. I mean, everything was kind of centered around Natalie and Travis, but with what they did with it, I thought it was really good stuff, especially getting you know, a look into Natalie's past with her dealing with her PTSD and everything like that. So, um, yeah, good stuff for the most part. Did you like everything in the past for the most part?
Yeah, again, like I liked everything we saw, except like I said, the Shauna thing was like I feel too sudden.
Yeah,
Her like not contributing with the gun thing, and then all of a sudden feel like, oh yeah, she wants to contribute. Um, yeah, didn't like that. But like that was barely even in this episode.
right.
Um,
It's like two thins.
like again, the main focus was Natalie and Travis, and I liked that. That was a good follow up from last episode. Because like I said, I was disappointed that this episode didn't follow up on Travis dying in the present, and them finding the dead body in the attic.
Yeah,
But Travis's fight with Javi, I think that was like the best follow up we got.
I agree. Um, yeah, I agree because they do follow up. I will say they do follow up a little bit on Travis's death in the present, but obviously though,
Like,
like we
I mean,
won't.
obviously, it could be a little weird if like Travis dies and they never bring it up. I'm just saying, like their immediate like aftermath of it was underwhelming.
Hey, in Ben 10, people die and they never bring it up until they
Yeah, I know,
don't
right?
die until they don't die.
Yeah,
Um,
people die. People die until they don't. Yeah, but
I mean, this
yeah, for this
Yellowjackets
episode,
would have benefited being the Ben 10 universe because Natalie's dad would have come back in this episode probably. Like,
I know, right? Like, how do you know? Yeah, well, the thing is, he would come back and no one would say anything about it. Like, no one would even ask, like, "Hey, didn't your head get blown off?" No one would even bring it up. Like,
Natalie
oh, hey
wouldn't
man,
even
what's up? The whole time. Yeah,
Natalie wouldn't even bring it up. That'd be awesome if Natalie just didn't even bring it up. It's
yeah,
just
yeah,
like that PTSD must not mean a thing. Like,
yeah. I know, right?
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty much it in the past. I still think overall the past was better than the present. This episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess I'll be the one talking about Shauna and Adam. I guess I'll talk about Thais first because that's like the most separated.
Right. Um.
Again, I liked this
Again,
stuff with Thais. I just think compared to what her plot was the last few episodes, this was like the weak link. And
plus they didn't
also,
really because we talked about this. You mentioned they didn't follow up with like Travis. They didn't follow up with any of Thais's like plot at all in the from
none
the
of the
last
stuff with her
episode.
son, none of the stuff with like her like rival senator, none of that, or like not even the journalist really. Like the journalist shows up here, but like in
Yeah.
Misty and and Natalie's plot. Um,
But you
so I
didn't
mean,
bring up because don't forget
we're showing. Sorry, what's up?
because don't forget at the end the last time you saw in the present the last episode she found like her son's doll had been like mangled. Like she didn't when it wasn't brought
Oh
up at
yeah,
all.
we didn't see any of the aftermath of that. Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. Like that was the
yeah,
big thing I was talking about.
yeah. I totally forgot about that, but yeah, you're right. Um, her son gets like one scene in this episode. Again, I like this plot with her. It's just like it's kind of out of place. And we talked about this off camera. I feel like this would benefit from like again cutting out Shauna and Tice's plot and making this episode like fully Natalie. And
Yeah,
again, when I say cut out, I don't mean like removing it from the show. I mean like putting it in a different episode.
I
Like
agree.
because yeah, again, I liked Tice's plot here, but it just kind of didn't have anything to do with anything, and like it showed more of her PTSD. Um, and I mean, Shauna's plot, I just don't give a fuck about it. Um, but yeah, Thais' plot here is basically she's getting ready for a big party with a lot of important people. There's one lady in particular that she really wants to impress so she could back her financially in her campaign. And she's having her wife quiz her on a bunch of information. And her wife's telling her, like, relax, like, just be yourself. Um, and we also see, like, their son is, like, watching them from, their
Oh
closet.
yeah, like cabinet or whatever.
And then they kind of just tell her son, like, hey, we're getting ready, like, go do your own thing. And then he leaves. That's kind of it with the son. Like I said, after last episode, that's really underwhelming. That's, like, all we get of them.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, basically, Taisa goes to the party with her wife, and she's extremely nervous. Um, she keeps drinking champagne because she's like nervous and wants to like drink. And again, it's like a social party; they're supposed to be drinking. But
Especially to we find
mhm.
out that the big meal there was like they roasted like a pig, and she's Thais is a vegetarian now, so she didn't eat ahead of time. So basically, I think that's also why she's drinking because she's allergic to meat.
Presumably because they did cannibalism. Like I understand, I get it. Like she probably didn't want to eat meat after that.
Right.
Um, yeah. So yeah, she didn't eat anything before the party, but yeah, at the party it's meat, so she doesn't eat that. And like she keeps like her eye on the lady she wants to talk to, but everyone else keeps like coming up to her,
Yeah.
and the whole night ends up kind of becoming a blur for her. Like we see like a little montage of like multiple people coming up to talk to her about like random bullshit. And we see like one couple like brings up like the plane crash, which I feel bad for Thaisa because it seems like presumably like the plane crash is brought up like constantly, because we saw the photographer in episode 1 brings it up, and like
Yeah.
these influential people at these like parties want like Thaisa to like spill the beans, because they're like, oh man, it's been so traumatic. Like you have to tell us about what happened. But obviously Thaisa doesn't want to. And like we see like talking about it and like presumably the drinking causes Thaisa to like see like a wolf because we saw that last episode. Thaisa had like a flash of like a wolf, so presumably there's like a wolf attack, and sometime while they're out there.
Yeah, I like that though. They do
Setting that,
yeah, keep setting that up, and they set it up in
yeah,
different ways too, like like cool, unique ways and all that type of stuff, because obviously the last episode, well, they saw like a bear get mauled, so they mentioned like a wolf attack and all that stuff. So I like that they're mentioning, they keep mentioning it, but like it's on in your face type of thing.
yeah.
It's just subtle.
Um, but yeah, Thaisa kind of basically removes herself from the party for a bit to have a smoke, and finally the woman she's been wanting to talk to all night actually like approaches her and asks for a light herself. And I felt happy for Thaisa here because Thaisa was like even levels it with her and says like I've been trying to talk to you all night, but then
Yeah.
I end up drinking too much champagne on an empty stomach and like I'm all like dizzy now. And the woman like says like, oh yeah, these parties suck. Like did you see that boar earlier? It's like barbaric. And again, I was happy with Thaisa here because Thaisa has been like putting on this perfect image, like trying to appear like so professional. And like I'm sure she was nervous when now she's like been caught by the person she's been wanting to talk to in like a less ideal situation. But they end up having like a very real conversation. They end up like kind of laughing and joking about stuff.
It
And
seems like
Thaisa
too.
like,
The conversation goes on for like a while too, because they keep
yeah,
coming
yeah,
back to it every so often.
yeah,
So
talking for a bit. And like like what her wife told her seemed to be true. Like just be yourself. Because Thaisa is like talking about how like she's so happy that like in just a couple years like being gay is like more accepted, and she like wants to be a good role model. That she wants kids like see her being successful and being married to a woman and being like that's normal. There's nothing wrong with that. And the woman basically said, I forget her name, but the woman is says, like I'm very impressed with you. Like you, like you're a go getter. Like you have limitless potential to like accomplish whatever you want to accomplish, and like I want to help you. I want to back you financially. Tice is like thrilled with this. She's like, oh, that's great. But then like the woman kind of seems to make it more clear, like, I want you to like help me in anything I need. Tice is like, yeah, of course. And then she says like, a lot of important people come to me with their like deepest darkest secrets, and like I'm a great, like I don't spill the beans, and I don't tell other secrets. And then Thaisa seems to hear the actress did a really good job. Like you can tell, like in Thaisa's face, like she kind of sees where this is going.
yeah,
And then the woman basically says it like flat out, like, God, that plane crash, I can only imagine what it was like. Like tell me what it was like. And Thaisa kind of gives her like, like the woman said, like the basic story, like what they've been telling everyone for all these years. They scavenged and they prayed and they like starved. Like not going into detail. And the woman basically says like, all right, no, like tell me like what really happened.
I feel like too.
Um,
This broke Thais' heart and like a little bit too, because like you said, everyone kind of came up and immediately just brought up the plane crash. This is the woman that like Thais has been trying to talk to all night, and then she built like a connection with her, and it's maybe in Thais' head she was like thinking, "You just only built this connection with me just to get on my good side, so that way you could just win up this
that's what
conversation."
I'm saying. Like they had a whole nice conversation, and this woman agreed to back her financially, and then pretty much made it clear, like, no, I want you to tell me about the plane crash.
Yeah.
And then Thaisa basically says, like, she gets confrontational. It's like, what, you're rich and powerful? Like, what is that why you get the right? Like, I have basically not told anyone all these years. And, like, but because you think you can bribe me with money, like, you get to know why. And the woman basically snaps back and she says, like, you know, I have I have made a lot of like waves with like women's rights, African American rights, African American women's rights, and I like Thaisa's face, where she's basically like, "You're a piece of shit." Like like you're basically like holding it over my head that like like she basically is like saying like I didn't do these good things because they're good things. I basically did these good things to like and like I think I'm owed thing. I think I'm like
Right.
owed stuff doing these things. Like she didn't do these good things because they're good. Like she did it so people like would owe her essentially, which is
Which
fucked
is
up.
very shitty.
Yeah. And then she basically threatens Tyson, says like I would watch you tone with me, and I like the woman's like shocked response after what Tyson says next because yeah, I'm pretty sure she's used to everyone like kissing her ass, but Tyson says like gotcha. I will be as respectful as you want when I tell you to go fuck yourself.
Yeah, so it was good that Thaisa kind of like clap back. It was a really good clap back.
And I liked it because Thaisa basically like hired a journalist to press everyone else in the plane crash to see like who will break and like who will like spill the beans. Um, so I like that Thaisa isn't like a hypocrite. Like it'd be really fucked up if she was like testing everyone else to see if they'll spill the beans, but like she's willing to spill the beans herself.
Right.
No, she expects everyone else to keep their mouth shut, and in return, like she's keeping her mouth shut. She got like the opportunity of her life to get backed by this woman financially, and she basically told her to go fuck herself. She didn't basically tell her to go fuck herself. She told her go fuck yourself.
I know. Yeah, we say a lot of basic. Typically, we say basicallys.
Now here, she
Something
literally told her to go fuck herself.
But again, like
So,
you know,
yeah,
because I said basically earlier with Natalie's dad's planes being blown off, they literally were. So,
yeah, and I think last episode you mentioned that like Thais is a bit of a hypocrite because she told her son like violence and threatening isn't the answer, but then she like threatened her like rival
yeah,
with like her daughter's like drug addiction. So I like that here, like she's not being a hypocrite, like she like isn't saying shit about the plane crash. But I mean, I'm sure it's not because like she like feels she owes her friends. I feel like it's because like she has PTSD and doesn't want to talk about it with anyone.
right.
Um,
I feel like
but
you know, because we're pretty much done with Thais' plot. I kind of like, for the most part, I liked it, but I also just kind of felt like that it just kind of came out of nowhere. I even felt it like this when I watched it at the time, because again, they jumped from that to this, but also to like, you know, it would have been better maybe if like Thaisa had maybe mentioned that she needed to be financially backed, because it just kind of seemed like that part of the plot just kind of came out of nowhere. Like it kind of felt like an excuse just to kind of give Thaisa some present Thaisa something like to do in this episode. It was just kind of really it just
yeah,
plot.
I like this plot. It just feels like a bad follow up from last time, and it's kind of just like came out of nowhere, like you said.
Yeah,
Shauna's plot is the opposite, where it was a good follow up from where they were last time, but like I just don't care about this plot.
yeah, it's very uninteresting.
So the opposite, where so Thaisa, I like it, but it wasn't a good follow up, and Shauna's it was a good follow up, but I don't care about it.
You have to ask them, what do you prefer? Not liking the plot, but it's a good follow up, or not good follow up but liking the plot? Because I would prefer the latter. Because at least the plot's good.
Yeah, well, because again, well, it's weird. It was a good follow up from Shauna's, but like Shauna's thing is like it is its own thing. It's not related to the plot.
Yeah,
Like I said earlier, Misty calls her at the end to be like, "Hey, you're the main character. There's like a plot going on, you know."
Yeah.
So like it's a good follow up from Shauna's plot, but it's not good follow up from like the plot.
It was a good follow up to Rose's plot from Two and a Half Men.
Yeah, there you go. Which I guess this is in the same universe as Two and a Half Men.
I kind of like to
Yeah,
think Shauna, after the plane crash in the past, just became Rose for Two and a Half Men until it ended.
Yeah.
and then she became like she developed multi personality disorder, and then is just Shauna again.
Mm-hmm. So I guess do you want to talk about Natalie and Misty's plot because Misty calls Shauna at the end. So
Yeah,
that's
sure.
actually like
Yeah. So in the present, the first thing we see in the present is Misty calls Natalie, and she kind of wants a game plan, like strategize, like how they're gonna talk about Travis's like death. There was definitely like a time jump from you know in the present also like a couple days because obviously they ended like with them driving back at night from New Hampshire, and now when they come back it's like
yeah, now like Misty's at her job, which again not happy about that. With the guy in the attic, I'm disappointed. We jumped to a couple days later and they've already buried him. Here again, kind of disappointed they jumped to a couple days later after Travis died.
yeah. I don't have as much of an issue with it because the stuff in the with the the guy in the cabin thing that definitely should have been followed up on, but I can kind of understand like not doing an
I
immediate
guess
follow
like
up.
Natalie's still like following up on it. Like Natalie's whole plot this episode is trying to like get Kevin to help
Yeah,
her.
but
So
yeah, so basically Misty wants to like strategize, and then Natalie immediately turns her down and just goes, "I got plans tonight." Um, because the whole friendship pretty much is Misty thinks that Natalie's like her best friend, but Natalie just wants nothing to do with Misty, aka all
yeah,
of Misty's friendships that she's probably ever had. So,
yeah,
um, but we see that Misty is working, and she wheels over this old woman to be closer to the window. I mentioned this because we're gonna see this old woman later, so I want to make sure that I mention this. It's not just a random woman. Um, but then we see that at a restaurant, Natalie is you know seeing Kevin at a restaurant. But before this, she went to her house, which kind of caused the first sort of flashbacks to happen, and she grabbed like a mixtape that Kevin made for her like years ago. Obviously, because no one does that anymore. It's just iTunes.
yeah. Because in the flashback, Kevin left it at her house, and like obviously her dad barged in and like kicked Kevin out, so Kevin left it there.
Oh,
Um,
okay, yeah, that makes sense. I actually didn't even realize that because, like, I would have thought he would have had it, like Natalie would have gave it back to him like shortly afterwards. So,
I mean, I'm guessing like her dad died like a couple minutes later, so she's probably kind of forgot about it.
gotta remember that stuff. Gotta write that stuff down. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, he's not gonna use it now, so it's. But whatever.
yeah, I know, right? Well, he might. You never know.
Um,
I mean, yeah, who the fuck is a tape recorder anymore, or like a mixtape player? Um, Also, I like because Natalie went to her mom's house to grab the mixtape, and her mom basically said like grab all your shit, I'm not like your storage unit, which is funny because we saw Natalie does have a storage unit.
yeah.
But Natalie says like this is the only thing I need. Um, so showing that she doesn't really give a shit about any of her old stuff that she had, and it's kind of fucked up because we see like she kind of just did this to get on Kevin's good side.
Yeah. I think too. You know, it's also just kind of sad to see the relationship that like Natalie, and her mom kind of have in the present. Because obviously then we find out what happens to her dad later. It seems like that it seems like her and her mom's relationship kind of like didn't really get good or anything like that. It didn't really rebound or anything like that.
Like, and her dad says like her mom just sleeps all day, so it seems like they never really had a good relationship. But like, yeah, it probably didn't get any better after the dad died.
Yeah. Um, And again, it makes it even better, when you see what happened to her dad, like at the end of the episode. Um,
Yeah.
so then, you know, Natalie meets not Travis. I think she wishes it was Travis.
I'll just go. Yeah.
But Natalie meets Kevin, um, at just like a fancy restaurant. I don't even know. I think it was just like a bar, pretty much, because I didn't see anyone like eating food or anything like that. It was all just them drinking. So I think they only served like drinks and everything like that.
I don't know. Well, because like we see later on the journalist is like at the bar, and then Natalie and Kevin are like at a table. So
Yeah.
I think it is like a bar slash a restaurant. Maybe it's Applebee's. Maybe Applebee's sponsored the show with cannibalism.
Right. So Natalie and Kevin are catching up. Um, from what I was gathering too, it seemed like that Natalie kind of makes it clear that like it was like she doesn't even mention that it was Misty that was doing the text messages, but I think she mentions like sorry for what happened and everything like that. Um,
Well,
and
he, well, he says like it's been a while, but like I that those texts definitely didn't seem like you. So I think
yeah,
she did tell him like that wasn't me texting you.
yeah. I wonder if he figured it out like pretty quickly, like after that type of thing. So
Well, also like Misty's the one who called him to like get him to like bail him out.
yeah, but I kind
So
of
I
like
mean, I'm assuming that Natalie told him that Misty was the one texting him.
yeah, but we kind of find out about a little bit about Kevin. We found out that he was in a band, but then the band didn't do well, and then he got married and messed that up, and that's pretty much why he's a
Oh, was he
detective now.
married? Oh, because he said like he met a girl and it didn't work out. I didn't know he was like married.
That's what I thought because he said met a girl, fucked it up, so I wasn't sure if they
Well,
got married or not.
I,
So
I just assumed like he had a girlfriend and like that didn't work out. Yeah.
yeah, but I liked it because he did it like in a haiku and he did it very quickly. So we basically got to learn all this information about Kevin
Yeah.
in like a few short
I do
words.
like it because Natalie's like flirting with him because he says like she asks him how he became a detective because remember he was like a goth kid in high school and he was like drinking and doing drugs with them. Um, and he says like, "Do you want the long version or the short version?" And she's like, she says, "Give me a haiku."
Yeah. I think it was weird, by the way, that like I think in the past, again, I haven't seen. It seemed like he didn't look anything like he did now, like in the present. But it was kind of weird because now that we saw him in the present, he looked a lot like himself in the present, and the past when we saw him in the flashbacks, which it did kind of seem weird, like how that happened. Again, I guess that was 2 years before the super pass or whatever. So
Yeah,
um,
I don't know. They didn't really lay out exactly how long it's been for each one. Yeah,
yeah.
so
But Natalie and Kevin are talking with each other. Um, and we see that Misty uh is watching this like directly across from them. Like there's like a glass like booth where they are, and like this Misty is staring at them directly across from that, and she brought like one of the residents out with her. And I did like that they showed like this resident earlier because that way it doesn't seem like it's just a random old lady that you just brought out there and everything like that. So,
yeah, so like they took one of her residents out of the nursing home and like brought her on this like dinner to spy on Natalie.
yeah,
Uh,
um,
did you mention the thing with Travis
um,
and Natalie brings him up? Because you brought up the haiku and that happened like after.
I mean, she brings him up like 7 times. So I was just gonna
Well, like
mention it.
okay, so they were because they're like talking about how like it wasn't Natalie texting him, and
Yeah.
then Kevin's like surprised and a little disappointed. He's like, "Yeah, why did I have to bail you out? What the hell were you doing breaking into someone's house?"
Oh yeah, and then she mentioned that like she wanted to check in on Travis, and then she found out that she had every right to check on him because he ended up like passing away, like you know, hey, committing
No,
suicide and stuff.
well, because I think it's important because that sets up like why she's here basically, and
Yeah,
also and it's also because like that's probably why they're having dinner because again he wants to know like why the hell did I have to bail you out of jail?
yeah. Um, so then During this, Misty sees the journalist, um, yeah, and she's like sitting like directly behind Natalie at the ball because the ball is directly behind him. Um, and Misty tries to text Natalie to let her know, but she's not answering any of Misty's text or calls. And then eventually Kevin notices Misty. Um, and Natalie goes and confronts Misty and asks why she's there because, like, Natalie never even mentioned like what her plans even were to Misty. So basically, like, Misty's pretty much stalking Natalie. Like, so she's kind of like, what the fuck, Misty? um,
Yeah.
and Misty's like, I have your back because that journalist is sitting directly behind her at the ball, and Natalie doesn't really give a shit. Because one, it's
Yeah, I was
something.
surprised that Natalie didn't react to that at all.
Well, I think too in Natalie's mind, it's not like in her mind, she's not really doing anything wrong. She's just having dinner with somebody. That's probably what she's thinking too.
Yeah,
Um, and then Natalie and goes back to sit with Kevin, and then I think they kind of storm off, and then when they kind of leave, Misty goes to confront the journalist, and the journalist pretty much reveals here that they know that Natalie and Misty took that road trip from the last episode. Obviously, I assume Thaisa told her about it, so that's probably how she knows about it. Either that or she just
yeah.
really did some investigation, but I think because she knows, um,
Well, they probably reported that like Travis is dead. You know, like because we see later on, like it was in a newspaper that Misty had that Travis is dead. So, yeah, she probably like found out they like broke into his house that day.
And then Misty kind of gives the journalist a warning and basically says that I don't you really don't see me as much of a threat, but I would be more worried about me than you should. And they kind of leave and they have like this tension. And this ends up setting up a lot of stuff that happens at like the end of season 1, which I kind of like they kind of see like the seed planted for it and everything like that.
This is also interesting because again, like for episode 1, I kind of saw this journalist the same way they did. We're like, we don't know who she is, we don't know what she wants. Like, she could be like more than she seems. But now we know that like Thaisa hired her.
Yeah.
So it is a little like odd to like think like she's actually not really much of a threat. Like like Thaisa hired her to like see if any of them will like say anything.
Probably in their mind too, because we were probably thinking this, before we find out, because obviously they just got.
Like, episode 1, like we're kind of in their shoes where we don't know who this lady is and like we don't know what she wants.
Yeah, but I was to say in their mind, they're probably thinking she's connected to like the postcards they've been getting and all that type of stuff, which is what we
Right. Which again, I like. It's called dramatic irony, where we know stuff that the characters don't.
Yeah. And then Natalie, basically gives Kevin the mixtape, and this is where Kevin reveals that he had the biggest crush on Natalie, and they're about to kiss, but then Natalie starts breaking down and basically reveals that she's still kind of like grieving over like Travis, and mentions that even though they got in a lot of trouble together, in a way they were like each other's sponsors and always made sure they stayed clean and everything like that. So this kind of causes Kevin to kind of say like, hey, I'll kind of look into what happened with Travis and everything like that. And
yeah, she says something like it kills me not knowing if he like was using when he died. And then yeah, so like she basically like, yeah, you could tell Kevin was like disappointed. Like he kind of got the picture. Like, I got you. You want me to like look into it?
Yeah. So basically, she manipulated him to doing that. And then when she goes home, Natalie kind of comes, is in the bathroom like washing her face in the sink, and you can kind of tell that she like feels bad that she kind of like manipulated.
Well, an important thing you kind of skipped over that like he like opens a car door for her to like because she like is taking an Uber or something home, and then she like kisses him.
Yeah, that does happen. Yeah,
I think that's an important thing. That's another manipulation thing because earlier she like avoided kissing him, and like I think she fake cried about Travis. Like she obviously wanted to like bring it up and like make him feel bad so he would look into it.
Yeah.
And then like you could tell Kevin was like disappointed. But then right after that, like Natalie kisses him and like leaves. So I think she did that to like keep him happy, basically.
Yeah, and kind of motivate him to like look into it, type of thing. Um,
Yeah, and then I think that's because later when she gets home, she like washes her face and she like repeatedly wipes her lips. So I feel like she's kind of like she feels bad about manipulating Kevin, and also like I think she is hung up on Travis. Like she feels gross that she kissed another guy.
yeah. Overall, really liked the Natalie and Misty plots. They seem to be carrying the present day stuff. You
Oh,
know, um,
uh, I'm also gonna make a theory here because I feel like her hands, like when she's like wiping her face, get like a lot of camera focus. And earlier this episode, we found out about like Travis's ring, and
yeah,
we don't know what happens to Holly. So we see that Natalie has like two rings on her finger. I think one of those rings is like the ring that Travis got this episode.
yeah. That's probably the case. Yeah.
Like
Um,
I think something happens with Javi, and because Travis and Natalie ends up in like such a long relationship, I think he ends up giving that ring to her.
yeah, that's a good theory actually.
Because
Because
we never get a good look at the ring that they like dug up in the past.
yeah, so that'd be cool. That'd be cool, and that'd be cool. Like shows how they like. That's especially why Natalie's devastated over Travis's death because you're like, you know, he trusted her enough to give her that win if he did give her the win and all that type of stuff. So that would be cool.
I'm a first time watcher. I don't know. Also, again, from the when they met Kevin at the bar, and Natalie was like sad when she like calls Kevin like he was her best friend. It's really fucked up that she like basically went out of her way to like manipulate him,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah, um, yeah. You know, it's pretty sad. Yeah, at least she feels bad about it too. I kind of it would be one thing if she just did it and didn't even feel bad about it. I like that she feels bad about it because it makes it look like she's not like completely malicious and stuff like Shauna is type of thing, type of
Yeah.
manipulation. So I kind of like that she at least feels bad about it. So,
Oh yeah, like yeah, last episode when we were talking about how like Shauna basically like was like telling Jackie like I need my best friend here, and like she basically had like no fucking remorse for the fact that she like betrayed Jackie. Yeah.
yeah,
Um.
but yeah, let's talk about
Yes.
Shauna. You're probably gonna talk about Shauna in like 5 set, probably less time than Kevin
Yeah.
talking about his
Yeah.
wife.
Not much Shauna here basically. So it's but this is a good follow up from where she was at last episode. Last episode we saw she found out Jeff is cheating on her, presumably. And then her and Adam went to a hotel room and slept together. And then now we see, now that she's like kind of putting a makeup on and like getting ready to go meet up with him, and she like keeps thinking about like that day where they slept together. Uh, I think you asked me off camera like, do I think Sean is in love with Adam? I don't think so. They've only met like twice before this, so it'd be a little weird if she was in love with him.
Yeah,
And then you said like, do you think she's doing this to get back at Jeff? Well, one, yeah, I mean, obviously, like she was upset that Jeff was cheating on her. So I think because Adam was right there, her like immediate response to like the hurt was to go sleep with Adam. But her and Adam's like dates in this episode, I don't think are really about Jeff. I think it's more so about Jackie because um Adam is like asking her about the past a lot, and she's basically like avoids the question. She says like I married young, and I kind of missed out on like doing a lot of like kid stuff, so now I kind of want to like do the things I didn't get to do as a kid. Because we see she like bribes a guy to like go buy them booze. Even though like they're under 21, even though
right.
obviously they're way over 21. So
Yeah,
like the thing is like teenagers and like illegally buy booze even though they can go do it themselves.
yeah,
And they go to play golf, and I mean the main thing that made me pick up on this was later on they go jump off a bridge, and them jumping off the bridge is in the theme song. And that was my cue where I'm like, wait a minute, she had done that already. Like she did that in the past, but she's saying like she wants to do things she didn't do. Also, like in episode 1, we saw the party and like Shauna got drunk. So obviously she did like, underage drink when she was a kid.
Yeah.
Um, so I think this is a less about like doing the things she didn't do because she married Jeff, but rather reliving the past, like trying to like get back to that life before the plane crash.
Yeah,
Which
definitely.
actually, that's a nice parallel with Natalie because it seems like Natalie's kind of like trying to get rid of her life before the plane crash. Because she's like manipulating Kevin, even though Kevin was her best friend, and she like doesn't care about all of her old stuff that she left at her mom's house. But here, Shauna is like, like I said, she's kind of like trying to relive the past with Adam, and she
Yeah.
ends up sleeping with him like in her car, kind of like she did with Jeff, in episode 1, where they slept together in the car.
Yeah, overall, it was good stuff for the most part. Um,
Well, I was just gonna bring up two things real quick.
okay. Yeah, then I'll go.
They went mini golfing, and they just make like a stupid bet that like whoever can like knock the golf ball like over like this big hill like into the residential area, and Shauna like gets it first try. She like nails the shot, and I think this is important because this is in the episode where they're like learning how to like aim, and Shauna's like a really good shot. And Adam asks her, like, have you ever done this before? And she's like, no, first try. Um, I think she's lying. I think because um, I think like the reason why we didn't see Shauna participating is because they'll like make us think like she's not a good aim. But I think something's gonna happen later on where she does end up learning how to like aim good.
Yeah.
Again, I still think that's not reason enough to like I still don't think that justifies why she's not like participating in the gun match like in this episode. But I think the writer's intent was that like we think she's not a good aim, but she actually is. Um, but yeah, I think that's setting up. And the bridge thing, very important thing is she like hallucinates Jackie, and like it's a teenage Jackie too. Um, and Jackie says like you're gonna get in trouble basically.
Yeah. And she
And
doesn't listen.
yeah, she kind of just like looks at her, and then like that like motivates her to like jump off the bridge faster.
Yeah.
So again, I'm interested in it because it seems like her doing all this stuff with Adam is like more so about Jackie than it is about Jeff.
Yeah. So it was kind of cool that like Jackie showed up at that moment. Overall, it was like good, like fun. I guess because the Thaisa and Natalie plots were kind of serious, so it was kind of nice that we had like some fun moments in there with like Shauna. I just really didn't care about it though, and I thought it kind of
Yeah,
took away a little bit from Natalie and Thaisa's stuff. You could have gotten some more Thaisa stuff, like better follow up with her son if you had done less of the Shauna stuff. Um, and then but it was also cool because it's the first time like, and because it doesn't happen a lot, that the characters from the past interacted with the characters from the present. So it was kind of cool. Like I always kind of like seeing that because you're not gonna see it very often because well they're younger then they shouldn't really be interacting
right.
with their present selves unless there's like
Yeah,
some
I think it's interesting because I think I theorized in a previous episode that like Jackie is still alive. So it is interesting that like Shauna saw like the younger version of her.
yeah
Well, also specifically, it was Jackie like in her Yellowjackets soccer uniform. So again, I mean, this is probably like I said,
well
I think Shauna and Jackie jumped off the bridge together. So that's probably what Jackie was wearing, like
yeah.
in the past when they did that.
But I also want to mention it seems like too Adam wants to get to know Shauna because he keeps asking about her past because in the bet they both like give like wages of what happens if they win and the wager he gives is like you have to tell me something about yourself, so it seems like he wants to get to know like Shauna. So you wonder is
Yeah,
there more to it? Makes you want kind of made me wonder when I was watching at the time like is there more to it than that type of thing, because the
yeah.
last
I think again because you said something. The guy was like, it's a really big coincidence he was at that hotel, and you said there is a reason for that. So
yeah
I'm guessing like he is involved in something involved with the plane crash. I'm not sure what exactly. Maybe he's like the journalist. I'm not sure, but
yeah. Overall, that's pretty much the the actual end of the episode. What? Oh no, that's not the end of the episode. I forgot the most important. The actual end of the episode. Again, I just forgot, but I'll let you talk about it because.
oh yeah, I was gonna bring that up. So basically, like Shauna had been out all day, like having fun with Adam. Then she gets home, and Misty gives her a call, and Shauna says like, okay, like I told you never to fucking call me. Like, what do you want? Um, and then Misty's kind of like beating around the bush, and Shauna like does not have time for it. Yeah. This is interesting because again, it's like kind of showing like what the relationships between the characters are. Shauna and Thaisa seems to be on decent terms. Thaisa was like sponsoring Natalie like rehab.
Yeah.
Natalie doesn't like Misty, but she seems to like tolerate her. Whereas Shauna's like, I told you to never call me. Like, I would never want to see you.
And then we actually don't even know the relationship between Natalie and Shauna because they haven't interacted at all yet. So.
Yeah. Again, like it's interesting because these characters, like in the past too, we haven't seen like Shauna really talk with Natalie or Misty.
Yeah.
Or Travis, because that's important. Because Misty basically tells Shauna. I literally even joked about it. Like Misty has to like tell Shauna about the plot. Misty's like, no one seems to want to tell you, so I guess I'll be the one to let you know what the fuck's happening in your own show. Travis is dead. Shauna
it felt like Shauna like went and did her own thing. Misty felt like the director here. Like director's like, you're forgetting the plot. You forget what you forget the plot. It felt like Misty was like the director here.
Mm-hmm. So Shauna seems really upset. She like hangs up the phone, goes in the house. Jeff's just watching TV, asks her like how book club was, because obviously she didn't tell him like I'm cucking you. And Shauna seems really upset and sad. This is interesting because again we haven't seen Shauna and Travis like talk at all.
Yeah.
But based on her like sad reaction, presumably they like end up like having some kind of like close relationship.
I mean, we've been theorizing that too, but I assume.
Sorry, what's up?
I assume they probably all have some type of like a bond, because they all like survived a plane crash and everything like that. They probably have to have like, they probably still feel like some type of sadness. But again, I feel like with how sad Shauna was here, it seemed like some type of bond happens between Travis. And
right. I mean, they're out there for 19 months, and like, there's not a whole lot of them. I'm guessing they talk at some point. But it's just point is we haven't seen them like interact at all on screen yet. So like, like if Travis died at that very moment in the past, I don't think Shauna would care. But obviously, like presumably they like bond somewhat.
It would be hilarious, by the way, and I would love this if they just have like Travis and Shauna just never talk now, like the rest of the show, like in the past. That'd be awesome. They just don't.
Yeah, like Shauna like asks Misty like, "Who's Travis?"
Like Walter did to Jesse when he revealed that Combo died. He's like, which one was he again?
And Walter was like, which one's Combo? And Jesse's like, you did not just say that to me. I joked about this off camera. What if like Shauna is basically just like making the rounds, sleeping with everyone's boyfriend? Like she slept with Jeff when he's dating Jackie. What if she like slept with Travis while Natalie's dating him? And we found out that like Shauna's Tice's wife or something.
And then I went like real dark and said, "What if Shauna past sleeps with Coach Ben?" I went real dark on that one. Like I think you were trying to get
yeah. She missed by sleeping with Coach Ben.
Yeah. But yeah, kind of an underwhelming, and it's just kind of basically saying like Shauna, get involved with your show because you're not really involved right now. Yeah, you need to just...
Yeah, like out of everyone, Shauna is like the least interesting, and like I don't really care much about her plot.
Yeah, and that's kind of like I'll just say this: that happens a lot throughout the show. Shauna seems to have the least interest in plot.
Yeah, although I'm glad that Misty finally like talked to Shauna because last episode we have Natalie and Thaisa talk.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that like the plots kind of like connect soon.
I will say this. We should mention this. It seems like obviously Misty's pulling some strings because there was really no reason for Misty to call like Shauna to like let her know this because like
Shauna hangs up and then Misty is like smiling.
Yeah.
Like after she told Shauna Travis is dead. So Misty clearly ain't that broken up about Travis being dead. So yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, like you said, Misty seems to be like pulling strings.
yeah. And then that's the end of the episode. Uh,
Yep.
I'll let you do your letter grade first, then I'll do mine because I feel like it's always fun when the person that is coming into this blind does
I,
the letter grade first.
I give this a C plus. Pretty underwhelmed after last episode. Again, I like the Natalie stuff, and I like Thais's stuff. It just felt out of place after last episode. And again, I don't hate Shauna's stuff. I'm like neutral on it. Like I just don't care. Um, the past stuff, again, I like the Natalie stuff. I just am disappointed that's like all of the past.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and again, I like Natalie's stuff in the present. I think it's a decent follow up from where she was last episode. So yeah,
Overall, I'll give it a B minus. I thought this was a good, solid episode. I do agree with you that it was disappointing, but I think I probably like the Natalie stuff a little more than you did, so that's why I'm bumping it up a little bit more. So
yeah.
especially the
And I
past
guess
stuff.
it's also because you've seen the whole season. I'm kind of like we're at episode 4 and things are still pretty slow. Like we're almost
Yeah.
at the mid season. I was hoping things would kind of pick up at this episode.
Again, I probably would have felt differently if I didn't binge watch it too. If I just watched this episode and they didn't watch it, for 2 weeks, kind of like you have because of me.
Yeah, kind of the opposite issue where like you would watch Hunted like 4 times. So even though you loved the episode, you were kind of sick of it.
Yeah.
So now it's like I've seen this episode and I've had to like wait on the watching episode 5 for a
Hey,
while.
at least I didn't have to watch it 4 times. So.
Yeah, true.
I mean, you probably wouldn't have.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm definitely gonna watch episode 5, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes.
I mean, let's
But
say
yeah,
that.
the weakest one so far for me.
Yeah, let's say this though. Let's be happy that we didn't have to watch that Kiss Sis episode 4 times. Let's be happy about that.
Oh, yeah, I know, right? Yeah,
I think.
But that's pretty much it. I guess plug and promote your stuff. I'm not gonna plug and promote anything. I
Yeah,
haven't
just
uploaded a video.
check out this video. We have a few videos. I've already edited them, and I just have to upload them, and then I'll edit this video and upload it. Obviously, check out. We're gonna be doing. We did Kiss Sis episode 5, and you'll see AJ and I's souls just slowly die in that review. Actually, I don't even think it was slowly death. I think it was an instant death actually. So.
Yeah, for real. It was like I like broke out laughing uncontrollably, and that like sucked out all the fun and joy out of us.
And then check out the Ben 10 Hunted video. We're very joyful in that video. We like joy. And then obviously, if you want to watch this video again, watch it again. And then obviously go to the lesson.
Yeah, watch it a million times. Give it a million thumbs up on all of your alternate accounts.
Yeah. And then obviously check out Lesson Fortune 44. AJ's making a few appearances on that channel. We're doing GM mode, which is fun, so make sure you check that out. And that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you guys for watching, and we will talk to you guys later.